Welcome back, On Guard Army. Now that we have seen all 7 of the new Aspects cards that are coming out in Temporal Forces, I thought it would be a fun idea to rank them. So what we are going to do is we are going to go through them one at a time. I'll have translations for them up there. Courtesy of Toynlay, I'll be taking the translations from that and just putting them here. I'll link Toynlay's Twitter in the description because Toynlay is fantastic and they do translations for all of the cards that get revealed immediately as they get revealed. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start with this tier list. Our tiers are as follows. We have Broken, great for future or ancient decks, kind of limited to those specific archetypes as they are future and ancient specific, have their niches, and why would you play this over Primecatcher? To start off, we have Primecatcher. This card is absolutely broken. The effect of this is literally a Guzma as an item card. It is switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active, and then switch your active with one of your bench Pokemon. So you pull up something, swap to your bench, go into something with a pivot, retreat, hit. Insane. This is fantastic for almost every deck, as long as the deck has a way to get in and out of the active. As long as a deck has a pivoting effect, this card is broken and will be seeing use in almost every type of deck. Absolutely fantastic. Following that in the Great tier, this actually does have a niche in which you could play it in multiple different decks over Primecatcher. If you need a damage buff to hit specific numbers, it might be super important for you to have this. This is Maximum Belt. This has the effect where, while it is attached to your Pokemon, you're doing an extra 50 damage to your opponent's active. This is like Choice Belt on steroids. It's plus 50, and it affects everything. Not just Vs, not just EXs, not just GXs, etc. It can hit anything for an extra 50. The only downside of this is that it can be Lost Vacuumed after, and I do expect Lost Vacuum to see an uptick in play now that this exists. But worst case scenario, it is literally just a power tablet for 50, which is not bad in the slightest. Hitting those numbers can be super relevant, and in a deck that needs to hit relevant math, this could actually see use over Primecatcher. Following that, we have great for future or ancient decks, and to go into that, we have, I believe this is Drum of Awakening, I think it's called. This allows you to draw a card for each ancient Pokemon you have in play. This could see some use in Roaring Moon, but most of the time Roaring Moon will also want Primecatcher. However, there is one deck in particular that will want to play this, and it is the Raging Bolt Sandy Shocks deck that'll also probably be playing the new Koraidon. But since you're basically filling your entire field with ancient Pokemon anyway, other than maybe like 1 or 2 support Pokemon, this can be an item card that straight up draws you 4 or 5 cards, which is insane in a deck like that, especially when it's like the Raging Bolt one, which just wants to hit things in the active and KO them. This is an absolutely nutty card for specifically ancient-based decks. Following that in the same vein, we have Reboot Bot. This is future exclusive and lets us accelerate an energy from our discard pile to each of our future Pokemon in play. This is great for just, there's a new card coming out, there's Miraidon, like, not EX, a baby Miraidon that's coming out, that does 40 for 1 energy and searches your deck for two of any colored energy and attaches them to a future Pokemon of yours in play. You can accelerate with that to start getting set up. You've got Iron Crowns to boost their damage, so you could be swinging for like 80 damage with a 1 energy attack that accelerates energy turn 1. And then there's a ton of different attackers you could use for future Pokemon. There's Iron Valiant EX, there's regular Iron Valiant that's coming out that can swing for 200, or hit the active for 30, ping for 20, and then... So there's 2 different Iron Valiants coming out, I think. One has an attack that does 30 and then 20 to the bench, and then has a second attack that does 190. Then there's another one that lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck and set them back however you want for 1 energy, and then has an attack that does 200 damage for 2 psychic and a colorless. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If I got a couple of details wrong, whoops. But that'll also see play in this deck. And then also, Iron Hands will also see play in this deck because it's huge against one prizers. It's very easily winning the prize trade by taking an extra prize. This can accelerate to all of those things. And if you use something like either Darkrai V-Star just as part of the engine or Regidrago V-Star as part of the engine, you can reuse this. You can use it multiple times, which I think is absolutely insane. I for sure am going to be trying out that deck. It's based on like the TDK deck, the Thunderous Deoxys, I forget what the K stood for, but it's an old deck from 2010, and they're finally bringing it back as a future deck, which I am very happy with. I cannot wait to play that. Following that, we have cards that have their niches. We have Neo Upper Energy, which provides 2 Rainbow to a Stage 2 Pokemon. This could see some use in certain Stage 2 decks. Quaquaval was one that I saw people talking about because it does 230 for 2 waters, but it's a little awkward to get 2 waters onto it. Same with Alakazam EX, which can do 120 from the bench, which is nice. And at one point throughout the game, it's nice to be able to set one up in a single turn, rather than need to go attach, double Psychic in order to actually swing for 120. So I do think this will have a niche in decks that don't necessarily need to use Gust, that are a little bit more disruptive. This will be very good in Stage 2 decks like Alakazam. So I think that this card will have a niche. It's just obviously not going to be as heavily played as Prime Catcher, because Prime Catcher can be played in anything. Then we have Hero's Cape. This gives plus 100 HP to the Pokemon it's attached to. The main issue with it is that it is a very easy Lost Vacuum target. I think that if there is a Pokemon that comes out that has, like, effective item locking, I think this will be very good because it can't be removed with Lost Vacuum if you're item locking your opponent. But I also think that this will have a niche in Gardevoir for its ability to put onto Screamtail to give it 190 HP while keeping it as a 1-prizer, so it can snipe for 360 damage. I think that Gardevoir will be the main use for this particular card, but if we see a good item locking card come out in the near future, I feel like this will see some use there as well. And then finally, in the why would you play this over Prime Catcher tier, Master Ball. So, all of these other things have their individual uses. This could have use over Prime Catcher if you need a damage buff. These two have uses in the Ancient and Future decks, respectively. This one has niches with certain Stage 2 decks. This one has niches with either Item Lock tank decks that just want to dodge Lost Vacuum, or Gardevoir. But this one, in all honesty, there's no real reason to play a Universal Pokemon Search card over something that can buff damage or something that can Gust. Because we have Ultra Ball, which discards 2 cards from our hand to search for any Pokemon in our deck. There's no real reason to run Master Ball over anything else. As cool as Master Ball is as a card for being able to just be a one-of card that can search out any of our Pokemon, I don't think it'll ever really see a use over either Maximum Belt or Prime Catcher. So, if you have any disagreements about the order that I put them in, or, I mean, I feel like I just kind of described what they do and just put them in tiers that were labeled for them, but I wanted to go over these because it's been a while since A-Specs have been in the format, and I'm very much looking forward to them being in the format again. So, let me know in the comments below if you would put them in any different order, if you've got any ideas on any other niches that some of these cards might have, or just to tell me what your favorite one of these is. In all honesty, I cannot wait to play with the Reboot bot. I cannot wait to experiment with this in different future decks. I'm gonna have a ton of fun with that. But, hope you all have a lovely rest of your night. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this quick and easy little video, and I will catch you all later. Have a good night.